sure it's on my end. It's still low. Y'all let me know if it's we live. Cause it never when I yeah it did it this time.
Yeah, it just started.
Yeah, it actually normally well that's on Kofi Piesie TV. Like if I'm on Kofi for some reason if I go live on Kofi Piesie TV, man, it won't automatically pop up on my phone if I go to YouTube. I had to go and search for it to come on for some reason here. Hold on, y'all, give me just a second. I'm copy the link real quick. Hold on, let me delete this off here too. Like this. All right, hold on, y'all. Y'all help me share it real quick too. I'm just gonna throw it in a couple of groups. We gonna get on down. Excuse me. All right, excuse me. Share the groups. Some of these groups, I don't even know why I share them to them, cause man, it be whole 2 or 3 days, man, before they accept the thing. I don't know if they got to go look at the video first before they put it on there.
Yeah, I noticed that too, man. I posted in some groups and then somebody comment on it like 5 days later. I'm like, man, we done did 3-4 shows since
Yeah, man, that's crazy. I just start saying that all the time, man. I be trying to remember what groups it in, man, so I won't post it in there, man, cause shoot, they probably ain't got but one moderator in there, and they probably ain't, on Facebook or got notifications coming to the phone, and by the time they look at it, shoot, man, it'd be then like you said, we've been damn near dead 2 or 3 days, 2 or 3 shows, man. Yeah. I'm sure what the few more, and I ain't gonna hold nobody up. Yeah, I ain't gonna hold nobody up. Let's see. Mind collected again. Fashion. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna do right there. Let me go back to Facebook, y'all. Not Facebook, but YouTube, and we'll get started. Shoot. We'll get started. Y'all bear with me just 1 minute. 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. Back to Facebook, man. All right. Peace to everybody in the chat. Peace to those that might be coming in the chat a little bit later on. Peace to those that might be checking this out in the archive. Peace and love to y'all. First, I want to say ETM Hotel, Dua Dua Aku, Dua Nature, Fatmu Alafie, Fatmu Iwariri, Majuba Iba Ii Gungun, Majuba Iba Ii Gungun, Majuba Iba Ii Lakba, Majuba Iba Ii Lakba, Igungun, Kiki Igungu. I always want to get honor and praises to the ancestors, because without the ancestors, we wouldn't be here. We are our ancestors. I also want to give honor and praises to the true and living elders out there according to African tradition. I look at everything from an African perspective. So peace to those who are living up to the perspective of eldership. I got brother Satepanra Miriaman. I got Sutek. I got Basa Nicolo Gullah. I got the Chala Bangara. On the panel, y'all brothers got anything, man, before I share my screen and get started?
Yeah, man. It's a tap. I just want to say peace to the chat, peace to the brothers on the panel. This is a good topic right here. So I'm excited about this topic. Y'all know I love Kemet. So yeah, let's talk about this water and see how far we can take it.
Peace, fam. Like the show, share the show. I'm interested to see where Kofi take this presentation. So I'm watching with my pen and my paper, taking notes, as everybody else should be. Appreciate y'all for coming through and checking us out.
Peace to everybody in the audience. Peace to the panel. Peace, Kofi. Thanks for letting me on. Interesting to see where this one's gonna go.
Peace, peace, peace. To everybody on the panel, everybody in the chat, and that will be watching in the archives. You know, back at it again with some more information. Big brother Kofi here, and I'm Mr. No, I don't even want to say that because I don't want to be associated with him. But I do love Nate. Y'all know who I was going to say, but I ain't that nature guy, that nature boy. I love nature. All I do is talk about nature in my classes. So I'm interested to see what information we get today.
All right. Again, peace. Everything is everything. Nasare, peace, brother. Maya, peace. D. Santavo, peace, brother. Sankofa, divine, peace. Green Spirit Studio, peace, 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 and peace to those again that may be watching now but not commenting in the chat. And also, again, peace to those that may be watching this later on in the archives. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. I ain't gonna hold y'all, and we gonna get started. Y'all let me know when my screen is sharing.
You good over this side?
All right.
It's still delayed on the YouTube, Kofi.
Okay. Wait a minute.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little lag, but it'll pop up. There it is.
All right. Well, today's presentation is called Water in Africa, Nile River. So we're going to be talking about the importance of water, or why water is so important in African culture. We're going to touch on a little bit later. We might deal with it in a few other places or a few other countries in Africa, but mainly we're going to be dealing with North Africa, Kemet. We're going to be talking about the Nile River. We're going to be talking about the Remtchew. So again, the presentation is called Water in Africa, Nile River by Kofi Piesie. All right. Make sure. Hold on too before I get. I'm finna Satir, you know how to promote if somebody come on the panel?
I do not. I don't know. Is this? Yeah, I don't know how to do that, Kofi.
Yeah, what about you, Sutek? I think I made you co-host one time.
Do I know how to say it again?
Know how to promote people to the panel. Like if you
yeah.
Okay, we're gonna make you the co-host then, and if Shawn come in or anybody else come in, just promote them to the panel. Hold on, I'm gonna make you the co-host. Do you want to make not just Sutia as co-host? All right, so you the co-host, so you got the juice. All right, let's go on. You know, before I get started, it's just me. I just always have to put a disclaimer out there before I get started. My disclaimer is I am not a teacher, but merely a student sharing information. And that information provided for the educational purpose only. And if you are in doubt, do the research and have it verified by someone qualified. I reserve the right to change the focus of this presentation to shut down, sell, or exchange the terms of use at my own discretion. Our trademark, design rights, copyrights, registers, names, mottos, logos, avatar, the sigmas, and marks used or cited by this website or by the property of their respective owners. I reserve the right to add information as it comes available or add, adapt, changes, improve information as it comes available in the future. Inputs wanted, deletions, or encouraged. Like I say, I just always have to put a disclaimer out there. Before I get started. Again, I'm not claiming to be a scholar. I'm not claiming to be a master teacher. I'm a student. And people that follow me know, my saying, which is following the next statement. You mean it's following the next slide, which is as I learn, we all learn. I believe in this statement as I continue to grow, um, continue to research and study and comb through information. I feel like, I know I'm going to present it to the public. So when I learn these things, I want to share it, so people can get an understanding as well and give the sources of where I got it from. I also a brother that is a humble brother, and I don't claim to be flawed. Don't have any flaws. I do have flaws, and anyone that you are watching say that they are not flawed or believe that their work is 100% accurate. I advise you not to even listen or read what they got going on. We all make mistakes. That's why I put a disclaimer out there. And I don't mind going back if I make a mistake, as long as you approach me in a correct manner. I don't mind going back, revising my information, and that's the only way we'll be able to grow. Too, if we don't get upset when people critique us, but I know at times people get upset because they have money behind these types of things, and this is one reason why the Mossi don't want to monetize our channel or even Kofi Piesie TV, or I don't even want to try to take donations or whatever thing, because I think when people get involved with the money, the aspect of learning, then I think it begins to get clouded, and those brothers or sisters don't want to be critiqued on any type of level. They get combative, or they feel like that they don't make any mistakes. That thing is flaws, and if they admit to making a mistake, then it may slow up their money or their revenue. But again, that's why I put a disclaimer out, and I don't mind going back and changing information because I understand sometimes information becomes outdated. There are new discoveries, research, new findings, etc. So the information may change over time. So, and again, my phrase, let's get this culture. You know, as long as I'm presenting, y'all gonna always get something, whether you like it or not, y'all gonna always get something from our culture. Water. Water is H2O. Water is perhaps a single most important liquid in the world, composed of 2 parts hydrogen and 1 part oxygen, H2O. It is not possible for any form of life to survive without it. Y'all get that? It said it is not possible for any form of life to survive without it. Wow, serious. Survive without it. Water covers about 3/4 of the Earth's surfaces and makes up roughly the same portion of the human body mass. By liquid dominated the physical, social, and spiritual environment of Africa. Water is in all of us. We need water to exist. Water is the source of food, either directly from fishing and hunting or indirectly from irrigating crops. Its current flows through myths, metaphors, and rituals. Water fluent means there are as many meanings associated with it as it here as a form. Diverse and wide ranges in material, time, period, styles, and extended use. The objects in this exhibit spans in the continent of Africa to explore the importance of water for both practical and artistic purposes. Ocean separates continents, but their current also connects them. Waterways delivers new ideals and luxury. These transportation routes bring both friends and enemy. Just right there with that thing, we can stop the whole presentation right here. Water is very important. Water is very, very important. We was talking off camera a while ago before we went live, and Brother Satep Ross said we could survive longer off of food. I mean, survive longer off of water than food. That is correct. Water is very important. You know what I'm saying? If water was gone, we would be up out of here. So, and, you know, and water is basically the source of food. And what it means by the water is the basic source of food. You know, we catch food from out of the sea. Some of us eat shrimp. Some of us eat all types of fish, catfish, mullet, brim, etc. You know, some of us eat other types of seafood, octopus, something that I don't eat, other different things. This is a food source. Water is also vital to growing food. We know if we plant crops and et cetera, we need the sunlight as well as water. So we also need the water in order for that food that we are growing to grow. We also need water for which we'll talk about a little bit later in the presentation. We need it um, for hygiene. We need it for hygiene. Also, if you study African culture, when you deal with the cosmology of Africa, no matter what ethnic group, a lot of these cosmologies deal with, where majority of them deals with, not all, but majority of them deals with the premortal waters or the chaotic waters, some fashion of water. When we're talking about the cosmology story, the creation stories, these myths uh, that of these different ethnic groups, rituals. We know that we use certain rituals, and we'll talk about that in the presentation too. Pouring libations, you know what I'm saying, as a form of a ritual that African ethnic groups, African communities use, as well as we do over here. The African American over here pour a libation, even the African American over here that never heard of what libations is or what libations really are. We do it innate anyway by pouring liquor out to the dead, to our dead homies. But I talk about that in the pouring libations article that I put out. I don't know the name of it, but go to Kofi Piesie TV. I know people probably get tired of me plugging information of what we do or what I have done or whatever, but I'm gonna keep plugging it. But let's go on to the next slide. In Africa, in the world, in the African world, from as early as ancient Kemet to the present, water in the form of the premortal waters have been the center of explanation of the origins of an existence. It is the world. Water is the ultimate cleansing agents, both internal and external. It is also the ultimate agencies of the symbolic of spiritual purification and the most important offering to the Creator. And as you hear it said, it is the most offering to the Creator. We're going to talk about libations a little bit in this presentation, but people that looked at my African pouring libation presentation that I did maybe 2 or 3 years ago, you can go back to Kofi Piesie TV in the archives. I think I did that maybe 3 years ago. But I also have an article that I did last year on it. And people under the assumption, well, I'll talk about that when we get to it, because you actually can pour offerings to the Creator. Pouring libation is not only pouring libations to the deceased, someone who has transitioned. You know what I'm saying? We can pour libations to the Creator or something that you have deified. But I'll talk about a little bit more about that later in the presentation, but I won't go too in depth because you can go to my article and I go in full details of which I may talk about it on here, different types of liquid that you can use, but one type of liquid is water. So we'll talk about what water means in pouring libations and these different rituals and etc. But it says purification in the most important offering to the Creator, to other divinities, to the ancestors, and to other cosmic forces that are proponents by the libations and other rituals. Okay. And I do, like I said, can't remember what all the slides I got on here because I did this a few weeks ago. Were put together a few weeks ago. A libation may be poured with a drinkable liquid, including water, milk, wine, beer, or strong alcohol, though alcohol has been the dominant choice for some generations now, especially when you look in West Africa. When you look into West Africa, most of the when they begin to pour libation, they use wine. But again, there are other different liquids. We know water is one of the liquids that you can use to pour libations, but wine has become the popular now. Africa, in West Africa, more often than not, clear spirits are chosen on important occasions. Gins in Ghana, chlorine in Haiti, white rum in Jamaica, Guyana and Trinidad, and other places. The choice of liquid depends on the nature of libations and the prayer of what aims in the invoking of awakening the ancestors. So again, these liquids are used. It is all depend on what you are trying to do. So which liquid that you would use. So water is for cooling and healing and creating and reconciling relationships. So when you're pouring these libations, again, it's for cooling or healing or creating or reconciling a relationship that you may have had uh, with a loved one, someone you might have respected, or a family member who has transitioned. Because we know a lot of times we say, we feel a certain type of way because a loved one or someone we respected or a family member has passed, and we may have got into it and we never got a chance to rectify or reconciliate the situation. And what sometimes we get into things and it may be something small that we harper on and we may not speak for periods of times or years of times, you know what I'm saying, because of something that we may have feel or some incident that may have happened. And like I said, most of the times it's something small. And something happened, and then we feel a certain type of way because we never get a chance to rectify the situation, restore this our relationship. Liquid Liquor is a furious and usually used to rouse, cement, ignite, protect, and perform strong purification. Wine is a midway between two and is good for friendly relationships, creating camaraderie between the man and the spirit. Milk is associated with motherhood and divine feminine due to the lactation phase most women go through after giving birth. Milk considered perfect offering to the creator and the spirits alike. So milk, you can use milk as a reference or giving respect to the creator. Again, it is associated with motherhood and a divine feminine due to the lactation phase most women go through after giving birth. Milk was considered perfect offering for the creator and the spirits alike. And again, pouring libations, you can pour libations for the deceased. You can pour libations for the creator. You can pour libations for the lesser deities, which, when we talk about the lesser deities, most of the times we're talking about aspects and nature that we begin to deify. So with the bosoms or with the neters or um, a lot of the Vudans, the Luau's, um, there's the Orishas, uh, so many. So you could deify them. You also can pour libations to the living. I'm not gonna go into in depth with that, but again, go to the article. And I talks about that in the article because a lot of times, again, we only think that pouring libations is pouring libations to someone who is deceased. All right, this is just a picture of the Kimsey baby first bathing in cold water served both as a ritual of awakening and a way of stimulating its circulation. So water, we talk about water is used in rituals. So we know one ritual is pouring libations. Here, this baby, the water is used actually to bathe or to awaken the baby and to stimulate the baby circulation. Every people have their story of the beginning, and the first known African account of the beginning, water is fundamental. And the creation story of Kemet, the Noon or the prenatal waters, is the oldest and most fundamental substantial in the cosmos, containing all of the possibilities of existence. Hence, before life, there was water. The first life form were residents in water, and all life form for the first stages of their lives or for all of their lives of residence in the water. Even here, the earth it was mostly consumed by water, and stages of life develop out of water. Even when you look at evolution, it goes you through the process of evolution, whether you believe in it or you don't believe in it, where different stages of evolution said life came from the water. You know what I'm saying? From a fish stage to something walking from out of the water on the land, and etc. And etc. But Earth was one time basically consumed of water, residents of water. All life is conceived in water, developed in water. Even when we talk about birth, people giving birth, the woman's water birth, birth. So everything is conceived in water. The creation story. This is another reason when we talk about the cosmology stories in Africa, whether it's in Kemet or Central, uh, uh, West, and etc. Again, lots of these African traditions, African cultures, cosmologies evolved around uh, water. Um, excuse me, around water. Born out of water and often inside water. Without water, no form of life is possible. Without water, no form of life is possible. Without water, no form of life is possible. All right, uh, the Nile River arose in highlights in Africa and journeyed across various terrains to empty itself into the Mediterranean. There is another gift. Fertility silks erode from uplands has always been transported in the yearly floods and deposited in a place that would have been part of the largest deserts in the world, but for this annual replenish nourishment from the longest river in the world. So dealing with the Nile River, we can see the light in the Nile River as it flows up and it dumps into the Mediterranean Sea. I hope y'all can see my cursor. So this is the Nile River, talking about the blue and the white Nile River, those Bible thumpers, the Gyshon and the Pishon. If you look into the Bible, and they talk about those four riverhead points, the Niger, not the Niger, but yeah, the Tigris and the Euphrates, the Pishon and the Gyshon. The Pishon and the Gyshon is the blue and the white Nile. And this water, this flooding of water, that was annual in Kemet, um, it actually was a blessing for them. This place could have been a desert, but due to the flooding of this particular place, you know what I'm saying, it deposited this certain type of fertility silk, this black silk, and etc. So it replenished and it nourished nourished the land and etc. So where is the Nile River? The Nile River basin spans across the country of Egypt, Sudan, South Sudan, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Kenya, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Rwanda, Uganda, and Tanzania. The Nile is composed of two tributaries, the White Nile and the Blue Nile, which the White Nile, which is longer of the two, begins at Lake Victoria in Tanzania and flows north until it reaches Khartoum, Sudan, where it covers with the Blue Nile. The Blue Nile begins near Taina in Ethiopia. The Nile River empties into the Mediterranean Sea in North Egypt. The Nile has run through Africa and the lives of Africa from millenniums. In Kemet, at the first, it's brought devastation and fearful floods to vulnerable settlements that clung precociously along. Oh. At first, it brought devastation, fear, floods, and vulnerable settlements that clung precociously along its banks to thin margins of land with agricultural possibilities. Then, as human knowledge and skills developed and predictable, the floods controls involved threats became promised, and the Nile floods, a welcome deluge, provided for the increasingly more productive and secure features. Yes, at one point in time, it was chaotic for them until they start to understand, they started to develop dams and other particular technology, you know what I'm saying, for the flood. Why is Egypt called the gift of the Nile? I mentioned that earlier in the presentation, the gift for the Nile. And the Nile River, or the Happy Heritus, is believed to be the longest um, um, river in the world. Ancient Egypt was incredible luckily, but it used the lucky masterful. It was Herodotus who said Egypt is the gift of the Nile. Every year in Egypt, the Nile overflows and creates a rich valley of black soil that is abundantly fertile. This fertility was essential to Egyptian civilization. With the blessing of this natural fertility, Egyptians were able to grow a range of native crops, and also native crops including a variety of grains, vegetables, and fruit. So the flooding again was great for their survival. The flood was able to keep this place from becoming dried up and becoming a desert. And it actually uh, fertile the land where they was able to grow uh, different types of grains, vegetables, and fruits, and other types of crops. Here is the river provides water for irrigation, transportation, communication, drinking, washing, and sewage disposal. It also yields large quantities of fish, birds, and other edible animals. The part of the Nile Valley had become a magnet that attracts more and more settlers from all directions. So was born the foremost countries in the ancient world, owing much of its life to water in the forms of the foremost rivers of the world, which we already talked about. Our water also is a food source, which it provides uh, things from the ocean that we eat, as a food source, fish, uh, shrimp, et cetera, et cetera. Also used for hygiene, which we'll get in, and also uses for drinking um, as well. The people in Kemet, not coincidentally, the most bountiful reception of this annual act of nature, certainly recognized the importance of the river and their life. They made the Nile in flood the divinity they call happy. The Nile was sacred. It was running water, was a sacred thing. Again, they deified things in nature, especially they deified things that was for their own survival, that was most important for their survival. So they deified certain things. And the river, the Nile River that we call the Nile River, they deified and call it happy. So the river or happy is one of the Neter Ooze. And we know that the Neters or the Neter Ooze are nothing but forces in nature. So if you read anything about happy, this deity or this Neter called happy, we're talking about the river, and they deified because it was important for their survival. Again, they could drink water. Drinking water was important for them. It was, it was for their survival. It was a food source for planting and watering, along with the sun, using the water to actually grow the food. Was also a food source for animals that was in the river that these people was able to eat. They was important in their rituals that they used, and so forth. Human habitation dominates the east banks of the river. The west bank was preserved as a cemetery, mortuary, temple, and other things to do with the departed. People had to cross the river to bury their dead. These materials conditions strongly influence images of the life and death in ancient Egypt. The east bank of the Nile became synonymous with this world, with the rising sun and the transformation and rejuvenation and resurrection. The west bank with the settled sun. You got him in hold on. Damn. Huh? All right. Hold on, y'all. Let me Sutek ain't on this. Sutek, you got him in?
Yeah, I got him.
Okay, I was gonna say you weren't on your job. Yeah, but going back, just talking about the banks real quick, and I'll keep going. The material strongly images the life and death of the ancient Egypt. The east bank of the Nile became synonymous with this world. The rising sun and the transformation, rejuvenation, and resurrection. The west bank with the setting sun, death, and the underworld. And you will see that no matter what you look at or you study, the West is always considered of some type of form of death. Even, I can relate before I even got into African traditions or even got into Kemet and Kemet cosmology and their traditions and their culture, studying them, I already kind of understood this because we deal with this in Freemason when we talk about the East, the West, and the South. The officers in the lodge is positioned in a particular way, in a particular way of the setting of the sun, the east, the west, and the south. The person there who is over the lodge, which is the worship master, sits in the east, which I resided in the east for a few years because I had my own lodge. You had the west and you had the south. So we understood the positioning and the positioning of the sun, the setting of the sun, the rising of the sun at its meridian height, afternoon, and etc. So I kind of already understood these things, but when you look at their stories or you study what's the name, and you study Ra, and you look at some of these different stories that's dealing with Ra, or you study the Underworld Texas, and I'll give out a bunch of those Underworld Texas at the end for those that want to study a lot of those Underworld Texas. You understand that you get a tune. Now you get Kepara, you get Ra, and you get a tune. You know what I'm saying? If you study the different cosmology, it's so many different stories and cosmologies around Ra, and so forth. So we talking about the sun dying or being swallowing and being reborn, being reborn every day. When we talk about Kepara, Atum, and Kepara, Ra, and Atum, the West is always considered death, and we always know the sun sets in the West, and then the sun dies, and then the sun is reborn on the next day. But we know that the sun doesn't die and be reborn again, and we know it may be dark on one part of the country, and then it's light on another part of the country. But anyway, transformation, rejuvenation, and resurrection. And we can look in nature and we can see the same types of things that go on in nature when we deal with winter, spring, summer, and fall, those different stages of life, and etc. Cross resurrection, the West Bank was setting sun, death in the underworld. Crossing the river became symbolic of making the transition into the underworld. Apart from the boat and the mythical river, the entire notions of transition came to be dominated by images of faring and fair man, the archetypes of now ambiguous conductors of souls across the crossing the river has also been retained by many African people in the unbroken tradition down to the contemporary times. So profound was the impact of water and on the psyche of the people in Kemet that for them, every manifestation of water in the Duat or the underworld was in fact an aspect of Noon, the great primordial waters that was before creation and surrounding the world on all sides. There were many manifestations of this water in the Kemetic, and I meant to change that because I don't like to use the word Kemetic afterlife, but in the Remtchew afterlife or the Kemetu afterlife, one of its branches into the form of rivers separated this world of all living forms of the Duat, the place of the departed. Another branch formed the route of the sun in the skies. The sun rode along the rivers of the Y in the boats, occurrences that provided the association explanation of nightly disappearance and the sun, death, decays, transformation, rejuvenation, and creation. And again, a lot of this is dealing with the underworld texts. There are so many different underworld texts, in particular, the underworld texts, and I'll give a bunch of those underworld texts, which developed basically at the beginning of the new kingdom, if I can believe, yeah, the new kingdom. So I give those underworld texts. And one of the famous underworld texts that we use a lot, but again, there were so many different underworld texts, but one in particular that people um, really familiar with is the Dua. You know what I'm saying? Ampu is guiding the deceased into the double halls of Ma'at to be judged. So that's an underworld text that a lot of people are familiar with, but I give you more underworld text. A lot of people may not know none of, may not be familiar with the dua. I may pull a few books off the shelves and you know, recommend a few of these underworld books because I got a bunch of underworld books, and I got one in particular. If you don't have money to actually purchase all of the books, I have one particular book that has a summary of all the underworld texts in this one particular book and kind of go in detail in this particular book. But the underworld was mentioned in the above slide, so I'll touch on it briefly. So what is the underworld? The underworld was known as the Duat in ancient Africa. It was a resident of the spirit and the abode of the soul belonging to the deceased. Africans regarded the Dua as a place that Ra passes through after he is in the form of the sun, set in the evening sky. Excuse me, the Dua in the 18th dynasty was personified as Asa. It was one part of the tripartite division of the cosmos by Africans. Pet, we know Pet or PT is heaven. Ta, we know Ta means land. Duat means underworld. It also a place where the unrighteous, those whose souls were heavier than the feather of Ma'at. And again, with like I said, this is one of the most familiar underworld texts when we talk about the double halls of Ma'at, Ampu, guiding Anu, and other different people into the halls of Ma'at to be judged. Could be banished to terrible fate. However, the Duat was a principle of a place where the ancestors enjoyed immortality. And we talked about this too, because I don't, you know, when we talk about the double halls of my heart or the heart being lighter than the feather, or you being consumed by this two-sided two beasts in one. I can't even think of the name at the particular time, but the devourer. You know what I'm saying? You are devoured because your heart wasn't lighter than the feather, because you know your heart was heavy for, and it's all a symbolic thing. So I understand symbolatry. So when we talk about this on the Seshuma Ani Metanetra, we talk about this whole thing. We break down that whole scene. So for people that want to understand this underworld text, um, um, you know, go to Seshuma Ani Metanetra YouTube channel, and we break this whole thing down on that channel. So go to the archives, and I don't know the exactly name of the presentation, but just stroll through the archives till you come across that video. At the 19th dynasty, the Remtchew text situated the location of the Dua as beyond the earth and heaven, separated by ranges of mountains which provided opening for both the sun, Ra, and the spirit. Every day Ra would enter the underworld and re-enter the world, passing through the mountains, going and coming. As Ra passes through on his way to the regions of sunrise, his light refreshes and strengthens of souls, making their journey enjoyable as then secure in a place of the divine boat. And when he went into the night, he also brought blessings with him. Water. Water from the center of the Nile was regarded as pure, and so the best for scarce wanderers that the Kemetu called water the nectar, meaning the divine. And again, they deified water, and the nectar for water is happy. And the Nile River was called the happy Eritus, and the reference of the Nile River as the water of life. It also believed that objects could be purified with water, and that water that had been poured over statues and other sacred objects was considered to have thus been imbued with magical or healing properties. This ideal of sanctification through running water is one of the fundamental ideals in African spirituality. In Kemet, water is universal, recognized as the supreme agent of both spiritual and physical purification. The latter is a practical necessity for proper human hygiene. And again, water is used for hygiene also. It is therefore tremendous daily importance. All humans, by the acts of living, accumulate impurities, sweat, dirt, and other popularly obtained through work, play, and basic biology facts of constant respiration. Therefore, every needs periodic physical purification. It is necessary part of forever alternate cycle of pollution and purification, which is the intimate aspects of the human reality. Here is just another picture. I just thought it was dope. I threw it up here of these women actually bathing, actually cleaning themselves, keeping up with their hygiene. And also Africans do bathe, me growing up, I, certain, misconceptions about um the continental Africans, you know, running around, eating each other, bones in the nose, not bathing, what I'm saying? Hygiene is terrible, musty, etc. The common things that we are being taught about um our people, but hygiene was very important as well in Africa. Water is the fundamental and respiration. Water is also fundamental for getting rid of pollutant built up during respiration, works, and play. The importance of water in Kemet appears to have been further emphasized in medicine. Water was the base of the majority of medical remedies in Kemet, certainly of most of those known to the modern world. The African people in Kemet knew the tremendous importance of water and other liquids. They recognize that to drink water is a sacred act. These understandings and beliefs, widespread in Kemet, constituted a foundation of the great importance of water in contemporary African spirituality. The water in Niger, Senegal, Congo, Abanji, and Zambezi River system serve the same cosmic, social, economic, and other functions today as those in the Nile did yesterday. I'll read that again. These understandings and the beliefs widespread in Kemet constituted the foundation of a great importance of water and contemporary African spirituality. The water of the Niger, the Senegal, Congo, Abanji, and Zambezi River systems serve as the same cosmic, social, economic, and other functions today as those in the Nile River did yesterday. Water figures predominantly in the creation story of most contemporary African people. Examples include the Yoruba, the Dogon, the Bambara, the Akan, and the Edu in West Africa, and Pabidi, the Venda, and other Bantu Africans in Central, Eastern, and Southern Africa. There is also great reverence for designated portions of natural occurrence in running water, in rain, river, creeks, falls, lakes, and seas. Water is the agent for cleansing persons of the physical and spiritual impurities. Water is important to African religion in a number of other ways. When used in these ways, water transcends and normal utilities as a quench of thirst, a physical cleanser, and the major and dispensable presence of respiration. It becomes transformed into a religion object, the foremost agents in many rituals in the African spiritual system. Water is indeed the supreme agent of purification in Africa practices, whether it is in libation, offering, outdoors, and naming ceremonies, the dedication of buildings, rituals, bathing, baptisms, or laying out an altar or shrine. Another example of rituals used of water is African practices. Practice occurs in the elaborate rituals of initiations of the Babalawols or the Yoruba priests, which includes a ceremony of purification by water. Now I'm closing out the presentation. So well, let's just go back real quick. So water is used again with this slide I just showed, just summing up everything. Water is important for our survival. If water was gone, it would be out of here. I wanted to highlight how important it was for the Remtchew in Kemet, you know what I'm saying, and why they deified water and uh, had a Neter happy, uh, who was a river deity, which if you look in West Africa, South, they have river deities as well. You know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of people are familiar with the Orishas. So when you look at Yemiya, uh, she is a water deity, as other deities in African cultures. They deified water because they understood water. But you know, water was used in their rituals, was used in their ceremonies. Water was used in their naming ceremonies as well. Water, you know what I'm saying, water was drinkable. The floods of the Nile River was very important to them because it didn't turn that place into a desert. Made the land fertile, so they was able to grow crops. We know we use water also with the sun in order to grow crops. So a lot of these things were used for the survival. They was also used. Water was used for pouring libations to in particular events, dedicating to buildings. Water was used for bathing, for the hygiene, because we know we have to cleanse ourselves because we can get all types of bacteria, diseases, etc. if we don't clean ourselves properly. There were just so many different things that water was used for, and basically it was used for our survival. Now, going into it, I'm wrapping it up. Terms for Egypt during the Old Kingdom. I threw this in. I was looking at something, and like I said, I did this presentation like 3 weeks ago, and I just got a chance to doing the presentation, and um, I was on Facebook, and I don't be on Facebook a lot like I used to, but I was on Facebook, and I was looking at actually, and I really don't be looking at a lot of the comments when people are engaged in these different comments, because a lot of times if I click on somebody always trying to debate somebody, somebody is always trying to one up somebody, somebody is always trying to stroke their ego, somebody is always trying to lit son or lit daughter someone. So I really don't really look at the comments, and you know, if I like the post, you know, I hit the like button, but I never engage. But Brother Garfield had put a post. I don't know if it was on his page. I don't know if it was on. He posted in a group. Uh, one of the groups. I can't remember. I tried to go find it, but he posted a lot, and I wasn't finna go through the things. And well, anyway, he had put a post, and I can't remember exactly what it was because it's been 3 weeks ago since, and I did the presentation right after that. But he was talking about Kemet, and he was directing his brother was saying that Kemet wasn't the name of this place. And it was just a whole bunch of stuff that the guy was talking about. And I agree with the brother saying, you know, because Kemet at a particular time wasn't called Kemet. It wasn't called Kemet. And a lot of people think that this place was called Kemet, you know what I'm saying, from its conception, which it wasn't. And Garfield was trying to direct the brother to someone who actually could give him some information on it, because he was saying it wasn't Kemet. He was saying it wasn't this, it wasn't that. And I think he called it something else that I never heard of before. So I just said, you know, while I'm doing something on Kemet, uh, I'll just throw some information out there. I know the brother may not see it or not, but some people may be exchanging. People may not know. Um, you know, I got lost in the comments. But the term of Egypt during the Old Kingdom. The term refers to Egypt belongs such as Kemet and Timeri. We know the place of what we call it now. We call it Kemet. We call it we call it Kemet or Timeri. Most of the people, when people write about this empire in North Africa, you always see Egypt. And then you have some black scholars and others. We use the term Kemet because you have some that are actually studying the language and the writing script. So we're able to actually know exactly what these people call this particular um, place during their time. So we know it wasn't Egypt, and we know Egypt comes from Egyptos, Egypti, from the French, the Greek, uh, uh, and etc. And until it developed into Egypt. And we know I tell them people all the time, Egypt don't exist, especially when we talk about the Bible thumpers or whatever. That place was not called Egypt. Those people did not refer to that place as Egypt, as what they say Egypt means bondage. But anyway, Kemet or Timeri, ironically enough, occurs neither in the Tutelary nor in any other type of text during the Old Kingdom. The lack of special names for the land during this period of a particular interest, since Egypt certainly exhibit a strong interest both commercially and military in the territory beyond the natural borders from very early written history onward. Enough Egyptians material bearing royal names and dynastic 0 through 2 has been found in lower reach of Palestine to suggest that Egypt may have been briefly, sporadically attempted to colonize that region. Farther in the Palestinian coast, there is much evidence to show that Egypt and Babylons maintained friendly trade relationships throughout the Old Kingdom. So we know in the Old Kingdom, Kemet was not called Kemet. It was not called Ty Mary during the Old Kingdom. People that study Kemet, we know that we go through the pre-dynastic, uh, the Old Kingdom. We get to the second intermittent period. I mean, the first intermittent period. We go to the Middle Kingdom, the second intermittent period. We go through to the New Kingdom, the third intermittent period, and etc. And etc. So pre-dynastic Old Kingdom, there was no mention or there's no attestation of Kemet or Tig Mary. So I agree with the brother at a particular time. It just, at a particular time, it was not called Kemet. It was not called Tig Mary during the Old Kingdom. In the east of the area around Wada Magara or the Sinai Peninsula has revealed evidence sporadically mining activity throughout this period. Relief dating to Dynasty 5 showing that is kings conduct military expeditions against Libyans on the northwest frontier of Egypt. To the south, following the establishment of the firm grips on the first two norms of Upper Egypt by the earlier pharaohs. Later, monarch continues to aggress policies toward the Nubian regions south of the first cataract. That this activities, and we just got to talk about that word too, Nubian, off camera. Um, that this activity may not have been entirely successful in pacifying the region is shown by the mention of fortress in the region as early as the as the early dynasties, Dynasty 3 or 4. Even in the late Dynasty 6, the name of Elephantine was occasionally still written with a sign indicating that it was defense outpost placed so that it would control river traffic. Now, nevertheless, despite Egypt's constant and somewhat low-level interest in the world about it, there is an apparent absence of a specialized terminology distinguishes Egypt from the outside world in the Old Kingdom text, except for occasional toponyms, most of which are compounds of the word Ta, which we know Ta means land. Such terms as Kemet or Tai Mary, which means the beloved land, remains unattested in Old Kingdom sources. So both trade and travel to such places beyond Kemet limits were normally done only at royal request during the Old Kingdom. The destination given by most voyages when returning from abroad was often simple, the Hindu. So they called this place the Hindu at this particular time. And Hindu means residence, literally, or the interior. It travels campaign narratives of this period, and the words for borders are tasu, the Jepru, and I know I'm pronouncing it wrong, is strikingly absent. An interesting example of the phenomenon occurs in the tutelary of the Dynasty Five, officially who held annual titles, Kerry Seshta, and I'm pronouncing it wrong. Satepra maybe can help me out with the pronunciations. He's pretty good with the pronunciations. I'm pretty terrible with it. Ra'a Kasu Sauti M. I ain't even finished. Got private counselors of the doorway to the foreign land. But this place was called Hindu. The people identified this place as the Hindu, the residence or the interior. And then later on, I didn't put the other information on here, but later on, when you get to the Middle Kingdom, and I'll give the source on here, and you can go read it for yourself. It became during the Middle Kingdom, it became Ty Mary and Kemet. When you start to see it in the writing or in their attestations, but prior to the pre-dynastic or the Old Kingdom, Kemet and Ty Mary wasn't referred to as this place. It was called the Hindu, which Hindu means the resident or it means the literal interior. And here is the sesh here, so we know exactly that it means the Hindu. Right there. So I just wanted to throw that in, man, because I seen that. But here are my sources.
Hey, Kofi.
Go ahead.
Danny said, what did Norma call it?
Hell if I know. I don't know what Norma call it. You know, I don't know what Norma call it. I mean, I don't read the Norma palette, but I don't remember nothing mentioned of him calling this place a particular thing. Because now we talking when we get into Norma, talking about pre-dynastic going into the I don't know exactly what he Nama will call it. I'm just being honest. I don't know, brother, to his story. Don't know. But here are my sources right here on the left hand side. I hope y'all can see it pretty good. On here to the left hand side. So these are my sources. Again, I have no problem with you venting my sources, going through my sources. This is the reason why I put the source on there, so you don't have to say Kofi Piesie said, or Satepara said, or Vasa said, or T'Challa said, or any Herit Shawn said, Sutek said, Ben said, Unc said, Nahisi said, or any other the families said. You can actually go read and vent our sources, go through our sources, or read the material for yourself, and even further the research, you know, and go further. We may have missed some things. We may not have mentioned some things. We may have not came across certain things when we research. So you may can come across that and further the research or present, you know what I'm saying, some more information that we might have didn't particularly touch on, or we may have something that may be inaccurate that you may have come across that you can, especially with me, you can bring to my attention. I have no problem with that. I don't make money from writing articles. I don't make money from doing presentations on Kofi Piesie TV or on Mossi Warrior Clan or on Seshuma Ani Metanet channel. I don't make any money from it. So I don't so if you critique and find an error, I don't have no problem with going back and, you know, rectifying the situation, fixing it. And I definitely be appreciative of it, because now you have taught me something or showed me a better way in my methodology. You know, so I appreciate that, you know, but like I said, those that are tied in with the money factor, you know, a lot of times they are scared to admit things because they feel like it's going to slow up their money. So these anybody got any questions? So what's your
And you say, Jay, I'm finna go to View with Mama. Look for the dollar store down here.
Some tissue and
Tissue
stuff.
stuff.
She gonna come get you.
No, I'm gonna go down here.
You wrong with her? You take her.
We're in her car. I ain't going in there. Be back shortly. I need to put the earth on to see how funny it is.
Oh shoot, but yeah, my bad, y'all. But yeah, let me put my socials back up there, man, because we want people to get those socials, man. Anybody got any questions in the chat? Anybody on the panel, got questions or a comment or anything? Yes, no, maybe so. I'm still on. Y'all still in here with me?
Yeah, we still here.
Oh, okay. Oh,
I first of all want to say great presentation, brother. And for those who may be just coming into studying things about Africa, African culture, African people, if you haven't seen by now, Africans love nature. And most indigenous people around the world are in touch with their ecology. And I just want to say that, when you dealing with any type of deities, quote unquote, or spirits, gods, whatever, you got to understand the type of people and the culture and the frame of mind that you're talking about with their God, their deity, their nature, whatever they're calling it. I can say a few different words right now that mean something totally different in another language. It means something totally different in English versus another language. And it all depends on perspective. And it's about your paradigm that you operate in. And so if you misconstrue what water means to a certain people, what a god is and everything like that, you're gonna miss the whole point of the situation. For those of us that really study Africa, we understand what nature means to them. And somebody in America might feel, oh well, we don't need to be studying this stuff, we don't need to be. Yeah, sure we do. Right now, based on what's going on, you can't barely even find any water on the shelves, at least up here where I'm at. And these people have lost their mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, like the world is ending, and like you because they fear of coming in contact with people, they want to buy up everything so they don't have to come in contact with people anymore. Like, we live in a consumer society, but we can't escape things that were put forth in this very presentation. They hold true for these various African peoples as well as us right now today. Right. So I just want to kind of highlight that and put that in everyone's mind. Like, be mindful of your ecology and your surroundings. What resources are available, and watch how you don't mess around and subconsciously deify something, as people are doing right now, buying up all the water, deifying it like it's their god now.
Mm-hmm.
Hand sanitizer and the whole nine. I just kind of want to. People talk about Kemet and studying Kemet, and why do we study Kemet? Because many of the same things that they held in high regard, we have to hold in high regard right now today. Let your stuff get stung by a scorpion. What you about to do? Go out there in the woods hiking and get bit by a snake and watch and see if you don't try to find some anti-serum or whatever to cure your behind. And if you don't be down in a bunch of water because you dehydrated. I rest my case. I'm off my soapbox.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to jump in with a negative thought to end on, but ending with dehydration, I put an article in the chat. Well, I put the title because I'm not a mod over here. I can't drop links. But it talked about the dehydration during the Middle Passage. And one of the things it ends with, and this is to, really, really think about this. It says it's amazing that 80 to 90% of them that transported even survived based with the science on how they built around the dehydration process and what it would have been like going through being transported as slaves. That article is in there, but that's something that most don't think about, that dehydration killed more slaves than anybody, period. We don't even, put an emphasis on that. We go into the other horrors of it, but just that alone, you got to think about how many that killed and how important water is and what happens when we lose power over control of these resources.
Yeah.
Then you can see why one would deify such a thing. It's the essence of survival, just to expand these conversations and make it touch every topic, whether it's spiritual or political. You need to see the importance of it.
Yeah. I'm trying to go through here and see if anybody had any questions, man. But I don't see anybody else have no questions, man. Like I said, I wasn't trying to hold y'all too long. I appreciate appreciate, man, everybody for tuning in, man. Appreciate the support. We'll be back this evening at 5. Sutek has a presentation he's going to present on Kofi Piesie TV. So be on the lookout for that this evening on Kofi Piesie TV. Also be on the lookout. I think I'll be doing some on, if I finish it, I'll be doing some on sacrifice next week. I don't know which channel yet. Maybe Kofi Piesie TV, maybe Mossi. But I want to try to stay consistent on Kofi Piesie TV as well. We've been being consistent, so we want to try to stay consistent on that
First
channel.
of all, you ain't been consistent. Let's just put that out there.
Yeah, we've been consistent, brother.
Nah. Just because you had a little run going on right now, that don't mean nothing. That don't mean absolutely nothing. You've been consistent. Now, that's straight. While we live on the L right now, Kofi Piesie has not been consistent. Oh, let me turn Young Jeezy down a little bit more so can't nobody hear. So, Kofi Piesie went on hiatus for about a month and a half. 2 months, exactly. So he talking about consistency. Where was you them 2 months? Where was you at?
With my family.
Yeah, exactly. When I holler at Kofi talking about, yeah, man, I'm with baby girl, man, and we in Paducah. I'm with baby girl, we in Tupelo. I'm with baby girl, we in New Orleans. Yeah, man, she got me down here in Florida somewhere. Man, we well. Kofi, when your ass at home?
We've been consistent, man. Since I came back, we've been consistent. December, January, and February, we've been consistent. We trying to stay consistent.
We use this French again. It's we. We. Parlez-vous, oui.
Parlez-vous free. Oui. Merci.
Oui.
Well, yeah, we try to be consistent, man. Shawn, you got anything, man, down the pipeline, article?
Nah, I ain't got nothing.
You ain't got nothing.
I ain't got nothing. Zero. Nothing.
Zilch.
They don't want it from me, dog. This is Kofi Piesie. My Zawari clan. Kofi Piesie.
No, man.
But what I got is irrelevant, man. I ain't got nothing. Yeah. I'm just sitting on. If I did have something, I must be just sitting on it.
Yeah, you sitting on it. You got a couple of them over there in the can.
I got some. Right now, you're on the run. I don't want to mess your groove up, man. You know what I'm saying?
I'm tired, bro. I'm tired.
People looking for Kofi Piesie. You know what I'm saying? So I just like, keep going, dog. You running the numbers.
Yeah, I'm trying, man. But I'm tired.
Being on the way back home, though. Yeah. Being be at the end of the month, being be home.
Yeah, be glad, man.
We got about another week and a half for being touchdown. You know what I'm saying? And he already got a presentation. I think he got an article and a presentation lined up because he was gonna do a lecture at the bookstore, but him and Unc got to get the time right. He wanted to come home and do that. And I was gonna shoot to Atlanta. For that. You know what I'm saying? That part of it.
Yeah,
I was gonna have mine lined up too.
Yeah.
I was gonna have me one lined up for the bookstore.
Yeah.
So when they do kick it off though, if they arrange the right time, man, if you near or around Atlanta or just so happen to be in town, you know what I'm saying, avoiding the corona and all that, when they get that under control, man, listen, you know, we're gonna be at the Black Dot bookstore, you know what I'm saying, the Mossi Warrior Clan. Come see us live. You know, come see brother Kofi Piesie. Get his signature. You know, print his article out. Get this how important Kofi is.
You breaking up, Shawn?
His article out and let him sign at the bottom.
You breaking up?
Man, that's you breaking up, man. You and your cheap AT&T internet, dog.
Yeah, hey, the coronavirus don't want brother Shawn on here.
That's not me breaking up. That's not me breaking up, bro. That's Kofi. Listen to the difference between me and him.
Yeah, that might have been me. I done muted myself.
Now, T'Challa, can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, that is brother Kofi. Well, it don't want him on here. It'll let him do the whole presentation and now it want to come corrupted, huh?
I told you. It's the AT&T, man. He got a time limit, man. He got an hour. After hours, it's going bad. Yeah, man. So, again, man, listen, the Mossi Warrior Clan, you know, when we kick it off, we're going to be in Atlanta at the Black Dot Culture Bookstore. And I think we're going to go on a run, y'all. We're going to go on a run. I think it's the third week we doing it like that. So we're going to go on a run where we just going to have a whole crew down there. Brother Nahisi, all that. We're going to get into the science, everything. Just going on a run about the culture, the traditions, the history, our involvements, all kind of different aspects. Mass, dance, drum, all that. You know what I'm saying? So when it happens, when the date set, just make sure y'all there, man. See us live. Make sure you print out Kofi, like I said, his article, and let him sign it. You know what I'm saying? Let him sign it for you. So then you can be like, boom, I got Kofi's signature. One day it might be worth something. You know what I'm saying? Might be. And then everybody be good to go. But I know y'all ain't coming to see me, but I'm just saying Kofi, Brother Ben, you know what I'm saying, the Heesy, you know what I'm saying, Fortune might slide through, you never know. He just in Chicago, he ain't that far away. Aziz, he might not even have to work, he might just be down there, man, to make it happen. Brother Michael Hope, he in Washington, D.C., next to the African American Museum. Anytime we need primaries, we get Mike on the job. Plus, he always got him loaded on his Instagram. You know what I'm saying? We got brother Amin Ma'at Ra, book writer. You know what I'm saying? We got book writers on the team, man. We doing what we need to do. We following in the footsteps of our ancestors, man. We ain't just bumping our guns behind the page, bro. We taking that methodology and applying it real life. You know what I'm saying? No shade. You know, so we doing what we supposed to do. We living by example, man. Now, let me see what else I got. I think that's it for me for now. But Kofit, go on in your show, man.
Yeah. But you know, yeah, man, y'all be on the lookout for that, man. I'm definitely gonna be in the building. I was actually thought it was gonna be at the end of this month. And even if they did get I think the travel restrictions is gonna kind of stop us if they, you know, stop anything from going down. But I'm definitely, when they get it straight, if the time right, I definitely gonna be in the building with the family. So yeah, y'all be on the lookout for that. But yeah, tune in this evening at 5 p.m. to Kofi Piesie TV. Brother Sutek will be presenting at 5 p.m. So come and support the brother. The brother been bringing some nice presentations, man, Also, go back if you missed last week, man. I had to go back and look at it. I normally don't go back and look at the videos, but go check out T'Challa. He did a he presented on from a Malinke perspective. That was a great presentation, and he actually validated some stuff I was saying on African oral tradition, a presentation that I did a few weeks ago, and then the reiterated presentation where I put some more stuff together and show how writing is oral tradition is just important as writing. Oral tradition doesn't depend on writing. Writing depends on oral tradition. So but anyway, you can check that one out too. I did last night on my Word Clan YouTube channel. Support all my brothers on the panel, Vasa, Shawn, T'Challa, Satep and Ra, Sutek, support all the brothers on the Master Warrior Clan, support all the brothers and sisters on the session. Be on the lookout for a new not a presentation, but an article. For some reason, I rather be honest, I rather write now than do presentations, to be honest. So I got another article coming. I don't know if it's going to be this weekend because I may not finish it. It may be another week, another 2 weeks before I finish it. But it's going to be a nice presentation. It's gonna be a nice presentation, man. It's gonna be a nice
And
presentation.
I ain't giving my game away for free no more, man. My next article is coming out in this journal, yo.
Yeah, I mean this.
I already got two. I'm sending. I'm about to send another one. I just need to tighten it on up and then go down to the bottom and do my thing. On this other one because I think it's much needed. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna put this joke out. I'm not gonna elaborate on in the article. I'm not elaborating on the details or the specifics because I can turn that into an actual presentation where I can be more specific and take up your time. But I just don't want it to be 6 to 8 pages or something like that. I want to try to keep it within the confines of 14 to 1,600 words. And right now the article is sitting at 875. But I just wanted to throw that out there for y'all, man. I really ain't working on nothing though.
Yeah, you got two. I know you got two. I know one of them I'm ready to read. I know one of them you ready to read. Like I commend you like for the patience that you have, man. Cause I need to develop, what I'm saying, some patience and some tolerance. Like when it comes to certain things, like I'm not gonna take it in. Certain stuff I listen to, certain stuff I'm just ain't gonna listen to. I may attempt to try to listen to it, but I always end up turning it off, man. So I just can't listen. Certain stuff I just can't listen to. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how big people say these people are. If it's trash, it's trash. If it's pseudo, it's pseudo, man. And I can smell BS from a mile away. I can tell when you're shooting from the hip and you're just winging it and you just saying all kind of stuff because it sound good, but it ain't accurate. It ain't accurate at all. So I commend you on that, man. I need to get better at that because I'm just ready to get it. I'm ready to get it because I know the time and the effort and the money you spent. So you spent money, you know what I'm saying, for the research in order to do the article, man. And then you took the time out to listen to, you know what I'm saying?
Oh
These
yeah.
So, and I ain't gonna get a name or
It was
give it
almost 3 hours. It was almost 3 hours of craziness. But I didn't even want to really incorporate what I've gathered out of that into this particular article. So I kind of went a different. You'll see. But it's along those same lines. The arguments are along those same lines. But yeah, you're right. I did have to put a little money into being able to get that. Is it worth it? Nah, it's not. It wasn't worth it. And a lot of people shoot from the hip, but you know what I'm saying? Thanks to people like Asar and Wujawu, you know what I'm saying? Master plagiarists, I really ain't got to do nothing but just plagiarize stuff, man. write a 400-page book and just plagiarize a whole book, you feel me? And then I sell it to the people, you know what I'm saying? 600-page book, you feel me? And drop it on y'all and call it a Lulu, you know, 600-page book, and then you're gonna call me a plagiarist anyway. So, you know what I'm saying? You know, I appreciate brothers like that, man, for plagiarizing. You know what I'm saying? Take your information back from the white man, yo.
Man, that's crazy, man. That's
I'm being, yeah, for people who taking me serious, listen, I'm being sarcastic because people who take the time to write and publish their work and do these things, there are a group of people out there that just won't like what you've written and who don't know how to cite or who do not know how to cite a source and who refuses to write. So, but they will be your biggest critic. They will tell you how you should do certain things. Man, I'm looking at my GPS, bro, with all this water around me, man. I hope that mug don't never flood. Anyway, but that's where we are with this thing, man. Realistically, like a year and a half, 2 years of researching and all these different things go into your work, and then you finally put your work out for somebody to turn around and call you a plagiarist when they don't even know how to read a footnote.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. But I mean, it's just I don't know, man. You just I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I don't. I mean, it's a lot of. I just don't understand why people. It's just a lot of jealousy going on, man. It's just a lot, and I could be the same way. And what I mean by I could be the same, that's not in me. That's not in my pedigree. It's not in my blood. But I mean, it's like I
Damn.
see so much jealousy going on, man, because you're not getting attention. I ain't mad. I don't get that much attention. I go live. I go live. I don't get that. I don't get that much attention. I understand my videos gonna go. My videos gonna do 2 to maybe 6, or on a good day maybe 800 views, maybe. You know what I'm saying? I don't get that much attention. My name is not thrown around all over this so-called country, and I'm kind of glad it's not neither. So, and no matter what I'm on, I don't get that much attention, and people don't talk about me like that. No matter how much work, you know what I'm saying? People missing that. I get on here, I do an hour, or we do an hour, 2 hour show, but you don't look at how long it takes us
You
to
ain't
put
gonna get no views. I ain't going over on the Mossi Warrior Clan and watch the Mossi Warrior Clan because you ain't gonna get no views. Who is you? You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? You don't cause confusion and commotion, bro.
right,
You
right.
don't
So I mean, yeah,
because you don't cause that, and because you don't cause that, man. Because you don't cause that, people don't pay attention. But guess what though? This why we ain't causing confusion. Hold on, let me show you something real quick. Let me cut my camera on real quick. Let me cut my camera on. Let me know what you can see. Can you see? You see me?
yeah, yeah, we can see.
Reverse my camera.
Yeah, Shawn, your head's still big.
What else is right? So let me show you something real quick, right? Can y'all see that, right? But that ain't what I want y'all to see. That ain't what I want y'all to see. I'm in my neighborhood. Okay, you see my Cadillac, right?
Yeah, we
See my
see.
Cadillac. You see that? You see what I'm pulling up? So when they call us all kind of Negroes and names and all that and want to talk crazy about us and all that, you know what I'm saying? Say we ain't got nothing, we this, that, and the third, right? When they do all of that, just be like, man, look, y'all have no cause or effect on my life. We do this because we do it for our kids and other people's kids and to inspire change in the community and be the change that we want to see. We ain't doing it for no freaking pseudo views and manipulations of minds of all the other people out there in the world. We take what we do serious. So that's why we say what we say and we bang the way we bang because we really about what we say. We ain't out here playing with y'all. We really invest our time, money, and energy into liberating our African minds through education. Because that's what our ancestors did. They stood on that. They were intellectually savvy for a reason, because they knew that one of the major solutions that we needed in our community was to get our minds right. That's all I'm saying, man. So at the end of the day, y'all, you know what I'm saying? We ain't got no views, but we got progress. We making progress.
Yeah, it get frustrating at times. I mean, I woke up today, like, I'll be honest, I like, man, hell with a presentation. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody gonna really pay no attention anyway, man. But I like doing what I'm doing. I like sharing. I really live by as I learn. We all learn. So I really live by that. So, like I said, it don't matter. If we got 20 people, 30 people, 40 people, we got 5 people in the building. I'm going to present, what I'm saying? I'm going to present it well. And I hope, and even, most of the time when we got 30 people, 40 people in the building, you know what I'm saying? Everybody ain't, most of the time everybody ain't going to get it, but I'm having long as 2 or 3 people learned something they didn't know a few hours ago, or they didn't know yesterday, or we taught them something about research methodology. We taught them something about their culture, their tradition, or how to start research, whatever it may be, man. I'm happy with that, man. But I mean, it goes a lot. These 2-hour presentations, or hour presentation that we do, it takes some time. It takes away from our family, because my fiance, she raised hell with me all the time. I stay glued to the laptop and a book on the side. You know what I'm saying? And it's not just me, it's everybody on the team, everybody, on the panel. It takes time. We have to read, you know what I'm saying? Read multiple books. We had to read articles. And sometimes it take a week, 2 weeks, sometimes it take people a little bit longer to put together a presentation. Even writing articles, it takes time to put together, articles. This is time, you know what I'm saying? Time consuming. We put it out there and it may take you 10 minutes, 15 minutes, tops to read the article, just depending on how long the article is, and you done, but that 15 to 10 minutes that you read, man, it took us 2 or 3 weeks to gather up all the resources that we gonna use, and then us time to type it. So it's just, it's time consuming. So I mean, sometimes that's what makes me frustrated, because of all the time that I put in. I don't have to do this because I don't get paid for it. I ain't trying to, one day I hope to get paid for it. And that is in, I want to be a professor. You know what I'm saying? But with limitations with, with doing that. So I got a plan with that. When I do, able to get my PhD, and I'm allowed to teach, but it's gonna come with my own stipulations and my own independent contract. Hopefully that I'll be able to work out in the near future. But I don't get paid for this. I don't have to do this, man. I feel like I could be like I'm good. I don't have to do it, but I just hope that the people is able to catch on to what we're doing, because if you look on Kofi Piesie TV and look on Mossi Warrior Clan channel, man, we is putting in some work. We really bringing the information, man. We bringing the information, and and I don't think nobody doing it, and I'm not trying to be, I just don't think nobody doing it like we doing it. You can say otherwise because we ain't cussing and we ain't fussing, and we ain't battling everybody, and we ain't rah, 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 this and that, and we ain't attacking everything that we see on what's the name. I do presentations and I dispute certain information, but I do it through presentation, or I do it through an article. I may not even be talking about, you might not even think I'm talking about. It might be something I seen, and I just do a presentation or put it on paper, and that's how we supposed to be doing it. But like I said, we doing something that other people that ain't doing. Avoid that wasn't out there when it's dealing with West African culture. Then avoid with Africa. You got a few people that's doing it, but not on the level that we doing something on the level that we doing it in.
Some people feel like they shouldn't be obligated to have to put anything on paper or write. Now here's the excuse when people say that. They say, well, it's already been written. It's articles out already, or it's books out already. So they feel like they ain't gotta why they need to write or do that. We need to be directing our attention toward the people who done already wrote and to put this information out, not them, because they ain't the ones that's saying it. They just the front man for bringing it to our attention. So I'm confused when people say that. When you when you provide a source, you have to stand on your source, and you have to demonstrate that you're competent enough to present that source and then show us how that source is accurate. If you just gonna throw out a source and all to turn around and then say, well, you gotta refute the source, that's craziness. That's crazy for you to even say what you bring the source up for if you can't defend it.
Nah, Shawn, that's just lazy scholarship, man. That's all. That's what it boils down to, man.
Yep.
Somebody provided, and I don't know what you're talking about, right? But if somebody provided a source and they want you to prove the source right or wrong, that's just lazy scholarship, man. You know, like you said, you come with a source, you got to be able to stand on it. You got to show why. You got to demonstrate why it's right, or why is you even in the argument in the first place if you just gonna throw a source out there and then expect somebody to refute your source when you didn't even do the proper research on your own source, man. I don't get that.
That's crazy, man. And we see that all through this so-called conscious community, man. They can disagree with you, man, you know, about certain things. Then they can pull, like you say, pull a source up, man, but they can't even demonstrate why they disagreeing and why the source is actually right and you are actually wrong, man. That's just crazy to me, man. I mean, that's crazy. And then that's with me, that goes back to me. I don't but my, I don't um talk about certain things, man, especially if I'm not well versed in a situation. I'm not gonna say, this brother is right, this brother is wrong, especially if I'm not well versed in the information myself. So I'm not gonna make a comment about anything unless I can demonstrate why I say that this individual is wrong and this individual is right. So I can demonstrate, okay, well, you wrong. I'm gonna demonstrate why he is right, and then I'm gonna demonstrate why you were wrong and where you're flawed or you coming out at the end are wrong at. You know what I'm saying? But these folks, man, they'll tell you wrong, flat out wrong about something, man, and will not demonstrate why the source that they have is actually right and you were actually wrong. My thing is be quiet. Be quiet. If you can't demonstrate it, be quiet. That's why I don't say a lot about a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Even when it deals with my lane, I still don't give attention to a lot of different things. I mean, I don't have to give my attention to always saying I'm right about something, you know what I'm saying, to make myself feel good and make another person feel bad. And if I disagree with somebody, I know how to do it. I know how to come on here and do a presentation and be respectful. I know how to write an article, you know what I'm saying, and show where such and such, whichever lane I try to go in, whether I try to prove it through anthropology or I try to prove it through anthropology, paleontology, um, um, uh, um, linguistics, which I'm not real good in linguistics, but a little bit in the language, you know what I'm saying, through migration, whatever, however I attack it and try to show, you know what I'm saying, or try to demonstrate it through those ways, man. But like I said, man, I just if you can't demonstrate it, just be quiet, man. Be quiet, you know. But anyway,
some
man.
folks like some folks like to disagree with you just because they don't like you. You know what I'm saying? And that ain't right either. Then people always say something about using European sources. The information is what we're targeting, not the person's ethnicity. Just because somebody European don't mean that they either gonna be wrong or they're gonna be right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like people will try to discredit you just because they don't like you or the sources that you use, but it's all supposed to be about the information, so I don't get it. Like you said, Kofi, I don't indulge in none of that stuff. Y'all know how I am with it, so I don't know. It's just be too much going on for me.
All of that is a product of coming out of slavery, though.
I hate to interrupt, but do any of y'all got some tissue? Anybody got some tissue?
I ain't got none,
man.
brother.
I need some tissue.
I got one roll in there, bro. I got three females in the house with me. I got one roll. I can't even share it with you. I can't even go to the bathroom right now. I got what's the name? Usually with my fiance right now finna go way to View to try to see if they can find some toilet paper, man. That's crazy.
I've been in here listening to everybody, and I'm cooking something for the kids. I just need some tissue. So just need some tissue. That's it. That's all I wanted to say.
Wow.
Oh shit.
Hey man, you better get you some paper towels or some clean.
You finna be
man,
a
they got
raw
baby wipes.
behind damn jam around this bad boy. Get that Charmin.
Oh,
Charmin bounty.
shit, they ain't got none. That's what I use. They ain't got none. They ain't got none. Nowhere, man. That's crazy too, man. This goddamn the coronavirus. I'm still trying to connect the tissue with the coronavirus. I'm trying to connect the dots there, man. That's crazy.
Hey, Kofi, I'm with you, man. Look, I was telling somebody at work the other day, I'm like, I don't see how toilet paper is on the top fucking survival list. Like, I just don't see how it's at the top of the survival list. Like, because not everybody had toilet paper 1,000 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, toilet paper was not a necessity, man. You got to do your thing. If it come down to it, just get in the shower.
Yeah.
Get in the
Get you some
shower.
leaves.
I told y'all what that was. It's
Some
the
receipts.
result of learned behavior and trained culture. You don't see nobody preparing for no flu. You see them in a panic and that whole apocalyptic. What was the movie they released a couple of years ago that's supposed to be a scary movie? Purge mentality, the zombie apocalypse, all that combined into one. So as long as me, and just look at what they learned to grab. Water and toilet paper.
Hey man,
That's supposed to be what saves humanity for some
Yeah,
strange reason. As
I went
long as
to
if I can lock myself away from humanity, the one thing that saves humanity most of the time is other humans. If I can lock myself away from the cure, I'll be all right.
hey, I went to Whole Foods and I got my water, right? I had to refill. I broke my jug, so I needed a new gallon jug. So I go in there to give me a glass gallon jug. They ain't got no more jugs. Them white people out there in Green Hills then bought up all the big old 5-gallon jugs and then filled all they water jugs up. It was empty, no toilet paper. Now I'm like in Green Hills.
Crazy, man. It's crazy. And I didn't think it was like that. I didn't think it was gonna affect us like that. Like I know in the big I was seeing in New York, how it was in New York. But I said, man, it ain't gonna get like that in Florida. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, man, it ain't gonna get like that here. And man, I'd be darned. I went out, like I said yesterday, I just went to Walmart. You know, I go to Walmart every Saturday. I go to Walmart, I make some groceries for the family, or I go get cleaning supplies or whatever. I might go to the dollar store for the cleaning supplies, like groceries and tissue and soap and paper towels and stuff. So I was just going to go get some soap because I bought some soap that I didn't like. So I said I'm gonna get some soap and some tissue, at Walmart while I'm out before I go home because I stay in the country. So I go get to the shelves. I'm talking about every last one of the shelves is empty of tissue paper. So I like, nah. Went around and looked again. And, I mean, people walking around, they got masks and they got gloves. I just started shaking my damn head. I left there. I went to Walgreens, no tissue, no, you know what I'm saying, no tissue. I go to Dollar General, no tissue. I think I went to about 5 or 6 stores. I went to another Dollar General because we get a bunch of Dollar Generals here. No tissue. Went to a Family Dollar. No tissue. I'm like, damn, what the hell is going on with? So I'm scratching my head. So I'm trying to do the connection. Coronavirus tissue. What is the connection between the damn two, man? I said, I don't know what the hell we gonna do, man. We ain't
Hey,
got.
I think it's because people think it's gonna be like a lock-in or something like that. So they stocking up on waters and toilet paper.
Yeah.
Same people concerned about toilet paper and germs and being clean. It's a common habit that most people in the households probably don't even really think about in the bathroom as far as being hygienic, right? keeping the top of your toilet seat down is definitely a part of being hygienic. And you'd be surprised at how many people's house you go over that don't do that. But while we worried about, getting technical about certain things, remember, only a fool knows all. So when you think you got all the answers and you want to isolate yourself like certain tribes did in history, what happened to them? They not here no more. You know what I'm saying? Literally, when you isolate yourself, you cause problems down the line. And the effects get greater as time goes on. Like, for instance, when the quote unquote Native Americans encountered Christopher Columbus and the boys for the first time, what happened? Any indigenous isolated tribe anywhere on the planet encountering another people after being isolated for X amount of years, what happens? Right.
So
Yeah, man.
y'all don't have tissue, is what you're saying.
I got tissue. I ain't got nothing to share.
Yeah, man.
Man,
Well, let's
they
get on
use
off
all the
here.
hand sanitizer.
I'm finna get off here, man. Again, man. Tune
Hey
in.
man, if you live in Antioch, Tennessee, man, I heard yesterday the Kroger got restocked, man. They got groceries and everything at the Kroger. You feel me? If you listening to this and you in Antioch, Tennessee, man, make your way on over to Kroger on Bell Road. They got you. I ain't been in the Walmart, but I'm just trying to shout some people out real quick. I don't know who else got none. I ain't been looking for no toilet paper, you know what I'm saying? But we got some. But I'm about to go bend the corner and go get some more.
Yeah, and think outside the box. Take this time to give your babies some strawberry seeds or something they can grow in the house. Tomatoes.
Never mind, y'all. I got some tissue paper yesterday. Boss, I might got you, dog. You need me to send you a couple rolls?
Yeah, I'm about to start slanging them rolls.
Yeah,
we use those flushable wipes anyways.
I'm seeing it like a dope game. I got two for $3.
Yeah, I need to hit you up then, Shawn. 2 for $3. 2 for $3.
Didn't Master Wig start off his whole campaign by throwing paper towels at people?
Oh no.
Trump, ain't that what happened in the first crisis? Is he showed up in Puerto Rico and was just throwing paper towels at people?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's up with the paper towel connection.
I don't know, but Shawn being nice. I'm charging $5 per roll.
Dang.
I gotta get it.
Hey, when it's a drought, you can do that, man.
It's a drought. Hey, I'm telling you.
Browse gouge. You can
shout out to the spirit of John Witherspoon.
I got some hand sanitizer too. Who need that? I got some.
And they ain't got none.
That's what I need.
They ain't got none here neither, bro.
I got that good sanitizer for sale.
Got that good sanitizer.
I'm mad too because I keep my hands clean on the regular. I use hand sanitizer on the regular. Everybody done came and bought everything out. I use this shit anyway.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. What y'all weren't washing y'all hands before, and now all of a sudden with a new virus, now everybody overly clean. You nasty
man,
asses.
listen, man. Them people was going to the bathroom, yo. Look, let's be real. Them people was going to the bathroom, taking a poop, wiping their butts, and walking straight up out that joker. That's why I have the handle that anytime I hear people in the bathroom and they number 2, and then I come in there, the next thing you know, I don't hear no water running, and I hear that door open. I never touch a door handle. I pull my sleeve on my shirt or at the end of my shirt, and I put it on that door and pull that handle back. I don't touch none of that. No, yeah, man. And then I elbow it out. I don't do none of that craziness, bro.
I got this belt buckle that lets me astral project home anytime I gotta use the bathroom.
Oh man, boss.
I don't deal with none of this. I just push this button, my crystals activate, and I'm out of there.
Align your chakras.
Right.
Yeah. Damn, I forgot how Jehudi probably gone out of here, man. He had said something so funny, man, the other day, man. He's selling crystals that you bathe in blood chicken, a holy chicken blood with, man. Or something he said, man, that was so funny to me. He was telling to hit folks up on his Cash App, man, if they wanted them bathing crystals. That was funny, man. But anyway, man, we out of here, man. I appreciate y'all again, man. I would have to give them still, man. Y'all could have been doing anything else with y'all time, man, but y'all came to listen to what we had to say, man. We appreciate y'all. Those that may have missed the presentation and caught us just talking at the end, go back and check out the presentation in the archives. I hope you appreciate it, you know what I'm saying? And please like and share the show. Share the show with those that you think that may be interested in the presentation. Don't waste your time sharing it if you know without a doubt nobody's really gonna click on and listen to what we got to say. Share it with those who was interested. Share it with those who were trying to learn something, man. And we appreciate y'all and y'all, for rocking out with us, man. And on that note, man, I want to say Black African Power, man.
Don't shut it yet. I want to say stay tuned for the quarantine in the community. Quarantine in the community. That's a show. It's called Quarantining the Community. The vaccine for the anti-vaxxers. We're gonna quarantine the community.
Where's that?
Huh?
What channel that's on?
It's gonna be on the Mossi.
Okay.
It's gonna be on the Mossi.
You gonna do that today?
Nope.
Oh, just coming soon?
Coming soon. Quarantining the community. You know what I'm saying? Saving one life at a time. By liberating the mind.
That's right. I'm with that. Yeah. So be on the lookout for that, and be on the lookout for Brother Sutek presentation on Kofi Piesie TV. If you hadn't subscribed, please go subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, so when we go live today or in the future, you will be notified that we are going live, or we already live. If you hadn't subscribed to Mossi Warrior Clan YouTube channel, please subscribe to Mossi Warrior Clan YouTube channel now. If you hadn't subscribed to Seshuma Ani Metanetra YouTube channel, please go and subscribe to that channel as well. Again, also be looking out for a article coming down the pipeline another week or two, maybe 2 weeks, because I know I may not be able to finish it this weekend because I got some other stuff that I got going on. So I'm just gonna be able to deal with the article when I'm able to deal with it, and that's it. But hopefully after the article, we'll stop using the N word, and the N word ain't nigga. I ain't talking about the nigga N word. I'm talking about this other N word that we use in the community all the time. But I'm gonna leave it on that note, man. On that, man, Black African Power, man. We'll see y'all at 5 p.m. on Kofi Piesie TV, man. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate your support, man. We out.